Hi, my name is Kaslow, but you can call me Dani, everybody does. I was hired here at the Center for Deafblind Persons in 2006 as a specialist in deafblindness. Before I worked here, my education background, I had a Bachelor of Science in Speech, which they now call Communication, from Northwestern University. And I had some post-baccalaureate teaching classes at University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. Before working here, primarily I worked as an educational assistant and later as a special ed teacher in districts in Kenosha, Racine, and Milwaukee. I worked in both rural and urban districts, which I didn't know, but that would help me a lot later on in this position. Lots of great experiences in public schools, but I think my favorite was 2 years working as a one-on-one assistant and interpreter, Spanish-English, for a student who was blind and was just beginning to learn blindness skills such as Braille and orientation and mobility. I got to learn those skills with her, and it was such a pleasure. Really helped me out here. I didn't know that would come about at the time, but it was so much fun and really interesting to learn. So prior to working at the center, I knew about blindness and I knew some Braille, a lot of those kinds of things from working with that student and from her teacher of the visually impaired. I also knew some ASL and deaf culture as a parent. Both of my children are Big D deaf, which, if you're not familiar with that, means they're culturally deaf, that they grew up with American Sign Language, and both of them happen to also go to the School for the Deaf here in Wisconsin. They're grown-ups now, but I learned a lot from them, and I eventually applied to the Center for Deafblind Persons because I loved teaching, but I really wanted to teach adults. I wanted to teach people that wanted to learn, that were interested in learning new skills. In my interview for the center, I mentioned that I knew that knowing about the deaf world and knowing about blindness was not the same as knowing about the deaf-blind world, and I think that probably helped my case a lot in being hired. I did get to know about deaf-blindness quickly. I learned from colleagues, from my directors, and from deaf-blind people themselves, including from our founder, who is deaf-blind, Ruth Silver. We're all still learning here. We have lots of opportunities for continuing education, and I have had many as well. Some that I'm especially proud of would be, since I started here, I got my graduate certificate in deafblindness from Northern Illinois University. Unfortunately, that program is no longer available, but I was one of the lucky ones to get in on that. I got my certification from RESNA as an assistive technology professional. That was a lot of work, a lot of education, and that helps me in my position now. I also completed 2 shorter courses that I think were really important. One was adaptive technology training for teaching deaf-blind individuals. That was through Helen Keller National Center. And then a much shorter course, Braille Teaching Methods from Hadley. That's been helpful as well. Since I've been at the center, like everybody else here, we all perform multiple roles. I have taught many classes. I have been an SSP, both for individual assignments and ongoing assignments, working with the same person for sometimes years at a time. SSP, if you don't know, is Support Service Provider, and look for some additional pieces from us for training about that to find out more about what that is if you don't know. Also, like everyone here, I've been a presenter to share information about deafblindness and what my role is at the center with other professionals. But now I am almost full-time with the iCan Connect program. The Center for Deafblind Persons is the agency in Wisconsin that manages the iCan Connect program, and I am fortunate to be the primary assessor and trainer of individuals for the program in Wisconsin. It is a federal program, but in Wisconsin I'm the primary assessor and trainer. The program provides both equipment and training, which is different from a lot of assistive technology programs. And this one is specifically for deafblind individuals. In order to qualify, you have to have both vision and hearing loss. And it's designed to give people equipment and training so that they can do distance communication. That's email, text messages, phone calls, Zoom meetings, video phone calls, etc. And again, you can look for another presentation by us to go into more detail about the iCan Connect program. I was thinking about the best things about working at the center. Certainly one is the staff. We have all been here for over a decade at this point and know each other very well. And we're all, like I said, we're all continuing to learn, and we learn from each other. So that's one of the best things. I think the best thing is the consumers themselves. Just seeing the progress that they make in terms of what they're able to do, and sometimes the improved independence that they have is fantastic. Aside from that, I like meeting them. I like meeting and getting to know so many people that I would never have come across otherwise. We work hard, the consumers and the staff. We tend to laugh a lot, and we just have a good time in helping consumers meet their goals. One of the fun things that we have a couple of social opportunities where the staff and the consumers can get together. Right now it's virtually, and we're doing a craft program, and people seem to really enjoy it, staff and consumers alike. And it gives us an opportunity to get to know the individuals on a little bit different level, and we get to know each other's clients a little bit better too, which is nice. The variety of work here is wonderful. The consumers are all different. They have different needs. Sometimes even the same consumer, their needs will change, so we have to adapt with that. Meeting consumers' needs means no 2 days are the same around here, so that's pretty cool too. And the challenge. I was thinking of an example of a challenge that we got, and one day there was a phone call about a gentleman who was blind from birth, who suddenly lost all of his hearing, and he couldn't communicate with anyone. And what would we do? And we did come up with a solution that worked until he could get a cochlear implant, which helped medically. But that was really exciting to be able to find and help him with a solution to that. Thinking about my favorite specific activity at the center, certainly some of those challenges, like the last one I mentioned, that really test our ability to problem solve and apply everything we've learned up to now, are a lot of fun. But on a more common, more day-to-day level, I would say assessments are my favorite thing. I like to talk with clients and find out what their goals are, learn about their past experience, their interests, their abilities, and help them determine what equipment is going to best meet their needs. That, I think, is probably one of my favorite things. And finally, I will end on just a personal note. Thank you for listening for this log, for watching for this log. I appreciate that you've taken the time to get to know me. And personally, I love talking to my daughters and my grandchildren on the video phone or FaceTime, and visiting as often as possible. I like to walk, run, paint, go to festivals with my boyfriend, Brewers baseball. That's about it. I think you know me well now. Thank you.